Thanks for joining me on episode 467 of the Inspired Stewardship Podcast.
I'm Dow Tippett, author of 7 Daily Choices. I challenge you to invest in yourself, invest in others, develop your influence, and impact the world by using your time, your talent, and your treasures to live out your calling. Having the ability to make the right choices every day is key, and one way to be inspired to do that is to listen to this, the Inspired Stewardship Podcast with my friend Scott Mader.
And we begin to end up in a conflict relationship, oftentimes with those people who we very much love. The very people that we want to help the most begin to be looked at as a drain of our energy. They begin to be looked at as something that frustrates us, that tires us out, that angers us, that disrupts our ability to do things.
Welcome and thank you for joining us on the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. If you truly desire to become the person who God wants you to be, then you must learn to use your time, your talent, and your treasures for your true calling. In the Inspired Stewardship Podcast, you will learn to invest in yourself, invest in others, and develop your influence so that you can impact the world.
In today's Spiritual Foundation episode about developing your influence, I talk with you about why we often focus on recharging others as a way of building influence. I talk about the danger in spending time recharging others when we ourselves are drained, and why you need to learn to do both, fill yourself and pour into others. One of the things that I've seen from a lot of different people is this idea of we can only help others from a position of strength. We can only help others when our own cup is full. And that's certainly a true statement. However, sometimes I think we look to the wrong things to fill our own cup. And we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But let's start with this idea of why we focus so much on pouring into others. You know, I talk about it all the time on this show about how one of the things we need to do is serve others. And that's definitely true. That's a message of the Bible, this idea of loving others as we love ourselves. But notice there's a key part there, as we love ourselves. Sometimes what we focus on is only the loving others part, only pouring into others, only recharging others. And what will end up happening is you can drain all of your own energy. You can drain yourself because you're depending on yourself. Oftentimes what we end up doing is looking to things like other people, looking to things like courses, content, looking for the stuff that's going to charge us up, the stuff that's going to pour into our own life. And then we look to pour that stuff back out into others. But the problem is that there is no amount of stuff. There's no amount of courses. There's no amount of content. There's no amount of just things that you get that fully charge your battery. We have to depend upon God to charge ourselves up. God is an endless source of energy, but all too often we don't take the time to spend with God recharging our own batteries. We get so focused on the doing that we forget the being. We forget that we are human beings who are designed to be in relationship, not just with each other, but also with God. And we don't invest in the time and the energy to spend time with quiet time, spend time by ourselves, spend time in prayer, spend time in the Word, spend time letting our own bodies recharge. We're not designed to do 24/7. We're supposed to have a Sabbath day, but so many of us never do. And the danger is if you constantly spend all of your time trying to pour into others and recharge others when you yourself are drained, two things happen. Number one, you really can't recharge someone else. You can't jump a battery from a dead battery. If you're drained, you don't have the energy, the attention, you don't have the spirit to be able to pour into others. And so what ends up happening is they aren't served well because you have not let yourself recharge first. And then the other thing that happens is we tend to get frustrated when that happens because we see ourselves as pouring into others. We see ourselves as the healthy one in a relationship. We see ourselves as the one that doesn't need to fix anything, doesn't need to change anything. We're all good. They've got the problem. And we begin to end up in a conflict relationship, oftentimes with those people who we very much love. The very people that we want to help the most begin to be looked at as a drain of our energy. They begin to be looked at as something that frustrates us, that tires us out, that angers us, that disrupts our ability to do things. And it begins to push our relationship away. See, the truth is that you have to learn, yes, we do want to pour into others. Yes, we do want to charge others up. Yes, we do want to take those things and those gifts that we're given by God and pour them out into the world so that they can help others. We absolutely must do that. But to be able to do that with any sort of sustainability, we also have to learn to carve time out of our day and our week and our month and our year to recharge our own batteries, to go back to God and allow ourselves to be in that relationship with God. You have to have both in your life to really help others and develop your influence. Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for listening to the Inspired Stewardship Podcast. As a subscriber and listener, we challenge you to not just sit back and passively listen, but act on what you've heard and find a way to live your calling. If you enjoyed this episode, do me a favor. Go over to facebook.com/inspired stewardship and like our Facebook page and mark it that you'd like to get notifications from us so that we can connect with you on Facebook and make sure that we're serving you to the best of our abilities with time and tips there. Until next time, invest your time, your talent, and your treasures. Develop your influence and impact the world.